And the question is, what is time maps?
Yes, it's a good place to start.
Hi, Peter.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm okay, thanks very much.
Good.
Nice to be here.
Good. Yeah. Well, it's nice to have you here, and we're at our first episode.
Yes, we are.
So we're finding our feet with this, aren't we?
I think we probably are.
Yeah. So we're going to delve into the main topic, really, and the question is, what is time maps?
Yes, it's a good place to start. Well, TimeMaps is an online atlas of world history. It spans the history of the world from about 3,500 BCE, when the first civilizations were emerging. And it goes on till the early 21st century. We intend to update it at some point, but at the moment it goes to about 2005.
Okay. And when you talk about world history, what exactly do you mean? I mean, isn't human history made up of numerous distinct histories, and covering various regions and people? How can you encompass the whole of world history in one website? I mean, it sounds like an ambitious task.
Yes. I mean, it is. It is an ambitious task. World history is, you're absolutely right, is made up of countless different histories. But they're all interconnected. And they're interconnected in many ways, through trade, conquest, migration, the spread of beliefs and technologies, and so on. And in fact, some historians would argue that the discipline of world history should focus on the interrelations and links between cultures and civilizations.
Okay.
More than actually looking at the civilizations themselves.
Right.
But we at TimeMaps haven't followed that approach because we feel that the two go together very well. You can't have one without the other.
Sure.
Properly speaking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult balance to strike, isn't it?
It is, yes.
How do you achieve that, if at all you do manage to achieve it?
Well, our approach is through sequences of maps.
Yeah.
Our atlas is made up of many map sequences.
Okay.
And there are three separate levels. So at the top level, there is in fact one sequence of 20 world maps.
Right.
So each map is at a separate date. So you've got 20 dates. If you like, 20 snapshots of the world through history.
Okay.
And this offers the user a panoramic overview of world history.
Right.
And they can see quite easily how the different civilizations fit together into one narrative. So
yes.
At this level, we can explore the links between different civilizations. And I mean, for one, what I think is a fascinating example is the way that the early Islamic world acted as a conduit between the technology and science of Asia, of India and China, into a Europe, which at that time was in the post-Roman period, a dark age, an age of barbarism to some extent.
Okay.
And because of the geographical situation of those different regions, which can be seen very clearly in those world maps, you can see how that process took place with trade converging on the Middle East and then spreading outwards into Europe.
So it really connects.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everything together.
And has had a huge impact on world history.
Okay. And so essentially the top level maps cover the whole world.
They do.
Okay. So the next level down, what does that focus on?
So the next level covers the major regions of the world. By major regions, I mean North America, South America, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and so on. some regions, I find it quite interesting, some regions are dominated by a single civilization. So, for example, South Asia the history of South Asia is more or less a history of Indian civilization.
Right.
If you move further east to East Asia, you get a whole series of different civilizations, Japan,
Yes.
Korea,
Yeah.
and others. But they are all of them heavily influenced by the enormous country that sits in the middle of that enormous region.
Okay.
Of course, that is China.
Yes.
Other regions have much more complex histories with completely different civilizations. And although they've influenced each other, they are still distinct cultures.
Okay. So imagine separating them like that enables you to see how they've developed in their own unique ways, how the civilizations have developed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That level of map sequences offers us the opportunity to present the different regions of the world and see how they interact with one another.
Okay. So, all right, let me make sure I'm getting this right. So, so level 1 consists of sequences of the world map at different dates. Level 2 is made up of several sequences of maps, and each covers the history of one of the big regions of the world.
That's correct.
Okay.
And they all follow the same 20 dates as each other and also of the world maps.
Okay, right. So if they're distinct histories, why do they need to align like that?
Well, they are distinct histories, but they also each of them forms part of a broader global history.
Yeah.
And a close examination of, all regions of the world really, shows that each of them have been influenced by cultures from beyond their borders. Again, through the processes I mentioned before, trade, migration, conquest, and so on. And I think the interplay between the different parts of the world is one of the most fascinating aspects of history. And that's why we've aligned all the maps at all the levels to the same set of dates. Another thing that allows you to do is to compare and contrast what's going on in different regions of the world at different dates. So, for example, in the year 1000, England was very rural. People lived in small villages. Even the biggest towns had fewer than 1,000, except for London, which only had 10,000. That's twice the size of my village that I live in.
Yes.
Whereas China, meanwhile, had several cities of over 1 million inhabitants, and with a big middle class, very literate, sharing in a very sophisticated cultural life.
Yes.
So
it's fascinating how that contrasts and how patterns change over time.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right.
So really, what you're saying is the regional maps provide a more detailed view.
Yes.
Okay, so does that next level down focus on individual countries?
It does. All the individual countries of the world are included in our atlas, and so users can trace the histories of all individual countries in the world. And there is an exception, by the way. There are exceptions. Monaco and Liechtenstein are just too small to include on the maps, and so we do have articles about them, but then they're not included in the atlas.
Included on the maps. Okay. And do they all follow the same timeline?
They do.
I mean, does having all the maps at these fixed dates mean some major events are missed because they fall between the maps?
That's a very good point. All the major events of world history are mentioned in the maps.
Yeah.
But they're often not properly covered in the way that they should be.
Okay.
as a result of that, we have developed sequences of maps within our premium service, which do that. They follow all the key events and developments of world history and in the individual civilizations.
Okay.
And they so you can trace the major steps within all the major civilizations in those premium sequences.
Okay.
And that makes that's of interest, hopefully, to a lot of users who want to understand history.
Absolutely.
But it should be of particular value to teachers who are introducing following curriculums that introduce the great civilizations of world history to their students.
Yeah.
And that's why the premium resources are accompanied by teachers' notes, suggestions for use and things like that. But I want to elaborate on that in a later episode.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's been really interesting. And I think that's probably enough for now.
Yeah.
Seeing as it's our first episode.
Yes.
So yeah, I think next episode I'd really like to explore why you embarked on this enormous project.
Yeah.
Not many would.
No.
And why you believe you're the right person to do it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
Well, thanks very much, Peter.
Thank you very much.